So we need to make it stand. Let's cultivate one another. Learn to live together as brothers and sisters. Without togetherness, we won't have a peace of mind. Unify and have a peaceful, sweet Liberia. Land of liberty is our home. Keep it.
What a pleasant way. We love to welcome you to another edition of Issues of Today. Is 10:15 a.m. in Monrovia and 5:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where people in parts of the United States of America have already started voting process this morning. We want to say what a blessing where we hats up to our American counterparts. Today they are going to the poll to elect new president. The two challengers, Joe Biden and that of the incumbent president Donald Trump, will be competing today. According to a report, there are over 100 million people that will be going to the poll today. I mean that some have already voted. Over 100 million people have already voted. The two men that you are seeing on the screen will be Americans. Over 150 million Americans will be deciding. The both of them fit whether President Donald Trump has done well for the American people. He's going to be retained, if at all. That the Americans say that, well, U.S. President Donald Trump hasn't done much. He's going to be going out. So again, what's the impact of it? People will say, why is it that we are discussing U.S. election on Liberia Public Radio? But it's just good that Liberia Public Radio is also based in the U.S. The U.S. is a very much good counterpart to the Liberian people since 1848. According to our history, Liberia has been friend to the U.S. So the democracy in the United States of America it has some impact on Liberia. So it's quite important that we talk about it this morning. Liberia Public Radio, wherever you are watching us, we want to say good morning from our end here in Monrovia. Is of course it's just one more month to the special senatorial election in Liberia, where today, Tuesday, people across the Americas or the United States of America are voting, and the votes are between incumbent President Donald Trump and that of former Vice President Joe Biden. You know, the description that Mr. Trump has been given to Joe Biden is quite interesting. He calls old man Joe Sleeping Joe. So I was thinking about, is it that we also have another Sleeping Joe in America? Because in Liberia, during the 2017 election, there was this other scenario where in the vice president, the people refer to him as Sleeping Joe, the former vice president Joseph Boakai. So it's the same with Joseph Biden, that people are saying that some of his opponents are referring to him as Sleeping Joe, even including the president of America, Mr. Donald Trump, has been referring to him as Sleeping Joe. Well, we're going to dive into the American election deeply, but let's come back to Liberia now, where yesterday it was a scene of drama when a leading political activist, who is also an employee of the judicial branch of government, set himself ablaze yesterday I'm talking about Mr. Achipompon. Achipompon is a very much a well-known activist. He led activism for same-sex marriage in Liberia in 2011, where he led a group of people, and then that made him to have gone into hiding for some time. And he himself is not a gay, but then he was quite supporting gay rights issue in Liberia. So he was chased, and then he had to go into hiding. So again, he has taken on an advocacy. This time around, is about workers at the judicial branch of government, about their salary. Mr. Pompon has said, Mr. Leroy Achi Pompon has said that the government of Liberia has been so inhumane to their plight. So as such, the only alternative was to end of his own life, because he was quite frustrated. He, as a leader for judicial workers, advocating for judicial workers, he has not been able to. The Chief Justice has not been able to have some remorse on them to see to it that their over 10 months salary arrears are paid. You know, when the government came to being, before the government of President George Weah in Liberia, uh, sometimes around the 18, the 15, every month, civil servants were taking salary home. But the scenario changed when the new government came to being, where Mr. I mean, where citizens now salaries were cut, and people who were earning, for example, $300, their salaries were cut down to 250, some to 200, some to $194, and so on. So according to the government, that was a process they call harmonization. And then citizens of Liberia are saying that that harmonization process is not helping the government. It's quite imposing some level of burden on citizens of Liberia. So as such, is demonstration. People have been demonstrating in some of the ministries and agencies, especially at the first branch of government, which is the legislature, and that of the third branch. I mean the second branch, the judicial branch, where Mr. Achi Pompon yesterday set himself ablaze. So it was quite a very much dramatic things, almost like a television, or you are on a television, you are watching a film, but it was not a film. Mr. Achipomo actually did set himself ablaze, and he sustained some wounds in the process. He was not joking, in fact. So people have been saying that Achi was right. Why is it that the government did not listen to him when he made several threats to accept himself ablaze? And then they asked him out of the premises of the judicial branch of government. So he said there was no alternative. The only alternative was to end off his own life. So as we speak, Mr. Chipompon is currently seeking medication at the government referral hospital, the John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital in Monrovia, where, according to some reports, he sustained some second degree level of burn. So he's responding to treatment. Yeah. So Mr. Pompon, as you can see on the screen there, he said he has now gave up. The only solution was to take his own life on behalf of his colleagues. So that's what took place yesterday in Liberia, and there has been some level of discussion everywhere. Every street corner you go into Liberia, it's been discussed. Mr. Pompon, it's been discussed everywhere. So again, people have been saying there are long gold fund to honor right his medical bill. So to honor right his medical bill, because of the wound that he sustained, he needs some advanced medical treatment, according to people who have saw him after the situation yesterday at the temple of yes, at the Temple of Justice. So this is Issues of Today special edition live on Liberia Public Radio, coming to you from Monrovia. And today is election day in the United States of America. Wherever you are watching us, we want to say hats up to our American counterparts. We've been getting reports that votings have started in some parts of the U.S. already. It's 5:25 a.m. in the U.S. But then it's our understanding that voting has already started in some parts of the U.S. So early votes indicate that Mr. Joe Biden, the main contender, who is going against incumbent President Donald Trump, he's has taken some considerable lead in the process. Though there are some swing states, there are some states they call swing states, that they are the Florida and other states that you're supposed to win according to the U.S. Electoral process. After you have won that, and then you will be declared a winner. But again, it's not yet over. It's far from being over. Actually, is very much far from being over. The process has just started, so it is not yet over. But at the close of campaign process yesterday, Mr. Trump was indicating that some votes, some postal votes will cause some instability in the U.S. election. So, as such, he was suggesting that that will not be good for the American people. Yes. So, but then he tweeted, and then Twitter and Facebook reacted to it by saying that no, Mr. President, you are wrong. This has nothing to do with any electoral violence. So his point about postal voting, voting through the postal process going to cause some electoral violence was denounced. It was debunked by Twitter and Facebook that it has nothing to do with electoral violence. So people are already started to vote across the Americas, in the U.S., the United States of America. Democrats in the United States of America is very keen to us Liberians, so it's good that we talk about it. Americans are set to vote. This is one of the most divisive presidential elections in decades, according to some reports, pitting incumbent Republican President Donald Trump against his Democratic challenger Joe Biden. The first poll today, according to reports, opens about 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in Vermont. That's one of the states in the U.S. Nearly 100 million people have already cast their ballots in the early voting period. Uh, so, okay, nearly 100 million people have already cast their ballots in the early voting, putting the country on course for its higher turnout in century. This is the highest, according to some political analysts, that the turnout this year in the U.S. election going to be the highest. Both rivals spent the final hours of the race rallying in key swing states, like I was saying, states include Florida and other bigger states. National polls giving the firm lead to Mr. Biden, but it is a closer race in states that could decide the outcome. In the U.S. election, voters decide state-level contests rather than all-odd single national one. Among the first states to attain election day voting on Tuesday are key battlegrounds of North Carolina, Ohio, which started at 11:30 GMT, which followed by half an hour early by Florida, Pennsylvania, uh, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, the all will be following today at 11:30 a.m. And so we are talking about in Turkmenistan. Some states will be starting their voting process in the U.S. and so this is how it is. Democracy in America is very key to Liberia. So this is why we are taking our time to talk about it, because America has been a long time out of Liberia, dating back as far as 1848 when Liberia was recognized. I mean, in the 1850s, sorry, because the Great Britain was the first to recognize Liberia independence in 1848, according to history. And so let's read some of the battlegrounds, the main battleground states. Each state has a number of electoral college votes up for grabs. At least 270 are needed to win the election. So this is it. So the total of the total votes in the electoral college is about 538. So one needs 270 in order to be declared winner. And so these are the swing states or the electoral college states. You get Michigan 16, Pennsylvania 20, Ohio 18, Wisconsin 10, Arizona 11, North Carolina 15, Georgia 16, Florida 29. So you see, Florida has one of the highest numbers of electoral college votes. So it means that if you win Florida, definitely anybody who wins Florida definitely means they're going to get some level of high percentage when it comes to the process. So these are the swing states, as they usually call it, swing states. Anybody who wins, then they stand a better chance to be the next president of the United States. To be elected president of the United States, a candidate must win at least 270. This is what I was saying in what is called electoral college. We need to do some level of education here. Probably people are thinking, oh, why is it discussing the US? United States is our partner. This station is actually based in the United States with other studios in Liberia and other parts of the US. So we are American organization, half American and half United or Liberian organization. So anything in the US is very much paramount to the growth and development of for us here in Liberia at the Liberia Public Radio. So each US state gets a certain number of votes, partly based on its population, and there are a total of 538. This is what I was saying, 538, and then you will get a number of you get 270. It means you have taken the lead. So this is how it's done. The system explains why it is possible for a candidate to win the most votes nationally, like Hillary Clinton did in 2016, but still lose the election. Tuesday's vote comes amid the ongoing corona pandemic. This we all know this is a very tense process. Liberia too will be going through similar process in this kind of a pandemic. So it's going to be a process that really needs some serious observation really. Uh, you are watching Liberia Public Radio live from our studio here in Monrovia. This is a special edition of Issues of Today. Every morning coming to you from our studio in Liberia is 5:34 a.m. in the US, where we are discussing issues of the US election, who wins the US, who becomes the next president of the United States of America, is very much paramount to the growth and development of Liberia. I want to say good morning to all of you watching us across the US. Mali Gadi is watching us, and also Solomon Boya, Solo Boya is watching us from New York. Brother, thank you for joining us. Comfort Donald is also doing the same from Ghana. She didn't say where she's actually watching from, but Comfort want to say thank you for joining us on Liberia Public Radio. We discussing the U.S. electoral process. Later on, we will open the telephone line so that you can make your input. What do you make of this? Democracy in Liberia and that of democracy in the U.S. This is what we're going to be looking at. Some of whom are how do you call it, dual citizen. They've already participating at the U.S. embassy. I'm told that the process are already started at the U.S. embassy in Monrovia, where some people, some Americans, some of whom are Liberians, are currently participating in the American election. It's very much key. So is the world biggest democracy? Should I say yes? Is one of the world's biggest democracy. The biggest is India, actually, with a population of 1 billion. But the US is little over one is little over 350 million people. So India is the world's biggest democracy. But again, it's not compared to the US democracy, because the US democracy is a more strong, it's the strongest one. So it's not compared to uh the US. US is much stronger than that of India, I think, because it started long since. So let's talk about the process. Who's going to win? Who is going to be in the lead, of how the process goes like? So let's continue to talk about it. And so the 10 hour, according to statistics, will be the highest this time around, which, as we speak, over 100 million people have already cast their ballot in early voting process. So the U.S. has recorded more deaths than any other country around the world. Talking about the corona pandemic, which is about 84,000, in which 84,000 new infections have been recorded just on Monday. Imagine, they are going for election, and then COVID-19 still way ahead in the US. So it's actually a serious process, really. As the nation counts down the hours to vote, there are fears that pockets of post-election violence could spark out. Well, this is what we don't want it happen in the US, because though they are much mature than Liberia, we don't want such to happen actually to in the US, because some of our family members live there, they do everything there, so we don't want any spark of electoral violence. Security fencing has been put up in front of White House in Washington, D.C. Businesses in nation's capital and also in New York have been seen boarding up their premises due to concern about unrest. Well, again, we don't pray for any unrest or such in the U.S. because America's democracy is very much paramount to us here at Liberia Public Radio in Liberia as well. So it's quite more important that uh, everything go peaceful as it is. So the two contenders again, former Vice President Joe Biden and that of Mr. Donald John Trump is they are the two contenders in the U.S. election. The Americans will be deciding whether Trump remains as their president or Joe Biden becomes their president. This is Issues of Today on Liberia Public Radio. We've come into it live from our studio here in Monrovia and also in America. So in the US, we're going to be having a series of programs today on Liberia Public Radio from California, from New England, and that of Philadelphia as well. So listeners and viewers to Liberia Public Radio are to tune in for a series of programs that are going to be coming out on Liberia Public Radio today. You keep watching Liberia Public Radio special edition of Issues of Today. Liberia Public Radio from our studio in Monrovia. So the two men will be deciding, Americans will be deciding who becomes the next president between the two men, whether Joe Biden will be and whether Mr. Donald Trump, the incumbent president, will remain. That's Americans going to be deciding today, which the process which has already started from our understanding across the United States of America. So let's continue to explain the process. We'll come back to Liberia and talk about Liberia a bit, where Biden and Trump campaigning in the final hours. This is the question. Let's see what they actually did. Let's see what they actually did. Were the two men actually campaigning in the final hours? So we're going to watch it up and see what they actually did. Let's continue on the process. On Monday, President Trump sprinted through four more battleground states, which include Carolina and other states. He told supporters that next year will be the greatest economic year in history of the country. That's the U.S. Economists warn damage inflicted by COVID-19 pandemic, the biggest decline in the U.S. economy in more than 80 years, could still take years to overcome. But again, Mr. Trump has said that no, we will overcome it next year. So you see, what politicians do, usually they psychologize you. Economists are saying that no, this will going to take years upon years, but you say no, this we're going to overcome it. After Carolina, Mr. Trump headed to Clinton, Pennsylvania, the city where his opponent lived until he was 10. Mr. Biden lived in Clinton. Creighton in Pennsylvania, where he would live according to some statistics, some records, until he was 10 years old. At the rally, he reminded his supporters that he won the 2016 election despite polls suggesting he would lose. So everybody was thinking then that Mrs. The former wife of Madam Clinton, who have been the next president then. But again, from the process, Mr. Trump emerged as a winner. Mr. Biden also talking about the last campaign process yesterday. Just before we can just we just put the numbers out there so you can participate wherever you are. Mr. Biden also went to Pennsylvania, where he was joined by singer Lady Gaga. You know, Lady Gaga is also part of. She's a supporter of old man Joe Biden. Yes. So they had a rally in Pittsburgh. John Legend and other musicians also joined him. Of course, Mr. Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris was also there. In Ohio, Mr. Biden repeated the core message of his campaign, telling voters that the race was about the soul of America. He said it was time for Mr. Trump to pack up his bags, saying we were done with the tweets, the anger, the hate, the failure, the irresponsibility. You know, this one thing that Mr. Trump does very well. Trump, the president, the U.S. president, is a very much popular tweeter. He tweets every time, almost every time he tweets. So he's a very much popular tweeter, actually. So Mr. Biden is saying, and we are tired with tweeting. Every day, president would just go and tweet and say, no, this. So they are tired with it. On Monday, Mr. Trump also held rallies in Michigan, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and which he said were going to be which were racked by violence. Of course, in August there was some violence activities in that part of the U.S. So yesterday they had a final process. They had a final process, and it was quite interesting. Yesterday I was watching a cartoon where there were some people mocking the president, Mr. Trump. They were mocking him. There was a balloon flying the streets, and then they started to somehow mock at that particular balloon. So again, it speaks to the high level of sensitivity of the American democracy. They are very much provocative at times, but again, they are very mature in whatever they do in their process. They don't go down the drain like what we do in other parts of Africa.
You've worked for months to bring your or your client's event to life, but unfortunately, the world had another plan. In reality, the only thing you lost is the venue. We take your vision for hosting a virtual conference and bring it to life online. No matter how complex your agenda is, we produce a smooth, engaging experience. Call the Liberia Public Radio today and schedule your event. Our number is 682-433-8802. If you prefer to submit your request via email, please send the request to liberiapublicradio2012@gmail.com. Our staff are standing by waiting for your phone call.
Have you heard the news? Well, worry no more. Carson's photo and video production has been providing elegant weddings, conventions, and birthday videographic for the Liberian communities since 2006, paying attention to detail and emotion throughout the day, and taking time in the editing process to create a unique video you will want to watch with family members, friends, and future generations, shooting quietly and professionally, and without distracting you or your guests is vital. For more information, please contact us at 484-786-3337. That's 484-786-3337, or we can also be reached at www.CarsonPhotoVideoProduction.com. Please tell Carson Photo and Video Production that Asheville the Giant Golly sent.
Liberia Public Radio live on our central studio in Monrovia, where you are. Welcome to a very special edition of Issues of Today. We're talking about the U.S. election and also some other issues in Liberia. Liberia democracy depends on the United States of America. When the United States of America is peaceful, Liberians are also peaceful. So it's quite important. We'll talk about it here on today's edition of special edition of Issues of Today. So we're going to just put up the number. If you wish to, you can participate. The numbers are out. The number is out there. If you can just wish, you can just. What do you make of it? What do you make of the American electoral process and also Liberia democracy? What do you think about it and the relationship with Liberia and that of the U.S.? You can call and then make your input. Wherever you want, wherever you are. We want to say thank you for watching us. Those of you who are joining us, this is Amadou Blend. is joining us from Silver Stream, Maryland, USA. We also say thank you, and also Barclay, Elora Barclay is joining us from Delaware, USA. Elora, thank you for watching, and also watching is Solo Boya. Solo Boya is watching us from New York. Solo, thank you for joining us. Also, Saint Pator is joining us from Kakata, Maigibi County in Liberia. I want to say thank you for joining us. Saying you can participate if you wish. The numbers or the number is out there. It's also on WhatsApp. You can also call and then be a part of Issues of Today, very special edition of it. We will be taking leave for you. Leave at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 11 a.m. Liberian time, on this special edition of Issues of Today. We are talking about issues of the U.S. election. What do you make of it? And also, why do you think America should elect re-elect President Donald Trump? Also, what do you think Mr. Joe Biden, who's President Trump usually calls Sleeping Joe, should be elected president of the U.S.? You can have your say. If you are from Liberia, wherever you are watching us, you can make your comment, and then we will be glad to hear from you. So, Issues of Today on Liberia Public Radio.
A life so beautifully lived deserves to be beautifully remembered. This is to announce the traditional wake-keeping and funeral service of the late Chief Crazy Sarto, former General Town Chief of Crazon Clan and Chief Elder of Crazon Chiefdom of the Bison Statutory District, Grand Gade County, Republic of Liberia, who died on January 27, 2020 at his daughter resident in Thinker Village, surrounded by his children and grandchildren. The body of the late Chief Crazy Sarto will be removed on December 15, 2020 at the Samuel Stryker Funeral Home in Sincor and will be taken to his daughter home in Thinkers Village for a night of wake-keeping. The body will then be taken to Duaji Town, Grand Gade County for 3 days of traditional wake-keeping. Funeral service will be on Saturday, December 19, 2020 at the Assembly of God Church in Duaji Town. The remains will be laid to rest at the family cemetery in Duaji Town. Repast follow at the family compound in Duaji Town. The traditional aspect of the late Chief Crazy Sarto life celebration will be the Kron artists performing lives making their present felt will be the Watsiato of Claude Romy and Blade Mary, Poemile Group of the Ivory Coast, Sumu Club of the Ivory Coast, Kron International Artists Blay Franco, Jefferson DK Nyangbe, Eric Duo, Chablo and Tour, Juice Sandy, Saba J, Festus D. Carr. Sea Levels and the gospel artist Ezekiel Wright. This announcement was signed by Nathaniel Cray, son of the deceased.
Election day in the United States of America, and also Liberians are closely monitoring process in the U.S. and all parts. Liberians in Liberia and other parts of the world are closely following, because Liberia has some huge number of citizens in America. So as such, they are very much interested into the process of the democratic process of America. Over 100 million people have already voted according to electoral the statistics we've gotten so far. In the American voting process started at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, ECD time, in the US, and also uh, that is in Vermont. Voting process started earlier today on Tuesday, and the process is continuing across the America. In Liberia, Liberians will be going to the poll to elect 15 senators on December the 8th. That is some 1 month, few days from now. Uh, Tuesday, December 8th, they will be going for the special senatorial election in Liberia. Again, we are still on Liberia Public Radio issues of today, where Americans are today voting, are today deciding the fate of Mr. Joe Biden and that of incumbent President Donald J. Trump. So, what do you make of it? Liberia and Americas have been having some long-term partnership when it comes to economic development. The United States Agency for Development uh, has been investing into the Liberian economy for so many years. According to some statistics, over $1 billion have been so far invested since 2004. So again, democracy in America, in the US, is also very key to Liberia. These are some of the reasons why we should talk about it. So let's talk to a very first caller here. Good morning.
Mike, good morning. Are you hearing me? Yeah, so like you rightfully say, it is quite interesting. So everybody glued to televisions, cable to wire, and indeed the process has started. In fact, it started 12 a.m. my time. There is a state in New Hampshire, so a little village town, Ivy. It is a little area where usually the first vote is always cast from time to time in the history of America. And so yesterday, last night, 12 a.m. this time, the first votes were cast with Donald Trump predominantly won that area, but that's not, it's not a big deal. It's part of a tradition for that small little community. They are the first to go into the process. But as we speak right now, you are quite correct. The process, Pennsylvania, is one of the key stone states, which is heavily been taught to us, monitoring CNN. It appears that the former vice president could be taking the trip on that, or basically they are trying to do all they can to get voters because that's a very vote-rich area. Our electoral college vote is really needed if he is to win that space. There's no indication from what we are monitoring, CNN and other major news cable. It would make it very, very difficult for either sitting president to go through. As usual, the Associated Press is usually want to make those sort of projections. And it's kind of tough for now because there are a lot of these states have their own different regulations in terms of when the ballot counting should start or when they should start receiving the provisional ballot and all of that factor in. But it'll be quite interesting. Active commentary will start around 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 4 or some raw figures. Analysts will begin to see, they will get a sense of the idea who were the demographic, the sections of people and the issues that they're going to vote on. That will kind of give people a sense of this direction is going. But I can tell you, we saw this happen in 2016, but it's quite different at this time, Mike, because all of the polls have been coming on for the couple of months up to the time of the elections. I have very, very much consistent. So it is a hope. So you never know. You never know. Electors, they have their own decisions to be made. But I have some false indications from what we are saying that Mr. Biden seems to have a lot of options as compared to the current president Donald Trump. Yeah, I'm here. I'm hearing your voice a little bit. Yeah, go ahead. I'm hearing you.
Clinton. So some considerable lead like what Mr. Biden is currently doing. But then at the end of the day, the electoral college, uh, Mr. Trump got the 270, a little over the 270 votes on the electoral college. So it seems as if Florida is one of the voting, the swing state with only 9 votes. What have you been hearing from there so far as to he getting the vote from Florida?
It's kind of coming in a little bit faint, but I would just see how are you saying something like a Florida. So I assume your question is, what are we getting from Florida? Is that a question?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to ask.
Oh, yeah, well, Florida is no question. It's a battle state, and so those electoral votes from Florida, like what pundits are saying, and to look at the electoral map at this time, considering what is unfolding, Florida to call Florida now, it will be hard, but we'll begin to see the raw numbers around 5, 6 o'clock our time terms of demographic, the kind of people that have voted. That's why you saw in the urban or suburban side of Florida, that why you saw President Barack Obama going out there, because the African side, the African votes, the Black American votes, the Hispanic votes is very, very, very crucial in those places. So you need a kind of huge turnout. If and if, I'm very being careful here, if and if Biden were to take Florida, it just narrow. It puts in that he solidifies his position for the path of the presidency, and because that is a very, 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 very crucial play that the Republican actually needs. Steve Biden does not, however, does not really need to win Florida. What is crucial to him is to take Pennsylvania, and those three Rossboro states, like the Wisconsin, the Michigan, those are places that he really needs to win. But it is important to get Pennsylvania. That 20 electoral college is very, very, very much uh, important. Like today, I'm watching right now what they are saying. Biden going to be There's going to be a campaign event today. I'm telling you, there will be a campaign event today. His vice presidential nominee will be campaigning. He himself will be campaigning. The essence of that is to get voters to those places. But I can tell you, if he takes, we anticipate that Michigan are crucial. If Michigan, Harrison, those places, if they have to come into his column, those blue walls, they have to be maintained. Take them from the Trump column that got so won in the last time around 2016 against Hillary Clinton. But if you used to get those things back, to come back to the Democratic column, it makes it a very, very a very good position, even including Ohio, because no U.S. president has ever won the elections on the Republican side without winning Ohio. So these are all very crucial states that we are watching. And hopefully by around 7 o'clock, 11, 10, 30, what time, we assume most of the cameras going to come in. We'll try to do a relay for our people outside of the U.S. Who might not have international cable wire to be able to see exactly how those figures, those numbers going to come. Ballot or dropping of ballot in Florida, out of the 19 places, they have closed 10, they have closed only one, they have closed 9, and only one. So it means if you have a provisional ballot, you go to those places, you have to walk in to grab that ballot. All of these is because of local leadership, the court system, the ballot factor in. It's not like Liberia, you have an election, the just decide. No, you have local state, Supreme Court, all come into decide based on their election law. So it's very huge, it's very tough. So we might not know who's going to be the president today, but there will be some indicators based on some of these important swing states, the battleground states that we have together. For example, if Georgia is support for the Democrat, we will be start getting the who win.
Hello, Mr. So hello. So
Yeah.
how long will we know? I mean, will we start getting some results? Because again, I just want You're gonna join the electoral college. When you win those swing states, does that automatically mean that you are getting the electoral college vote, or the electoral college vote will be decided after the year vote? That, just a little bit on this process before we take the user vote.
Or you sending the other thing? Wait. What did you say?
I'm asking how long will we take to get votes? I mean results coming up. How long? How long?
How long to get the votes?
The results.
Oh no, this time around, from all indications, what we have been hearing about is a little bit different because of the COVID. You're going to take, especially the Pennsylvania, which is a strong battleground state we are here. You're going to take a time. It is unclear precisely as what time is going to be. We have over 100 billion votes already been cast. So the application ballots, they were person ballots. So what they're going to do now, they're going to solidify, put all of those things in the count process. So again, determine where they're coming from. The counties is heavily crowded. But this is something that they're going to take their own time to process those votes, tally them before they are before they even count. But what is important that we have other states, Florida, very good at coming up with quick results because I've already started the process. So I'm quite sure before 8, 9, 10, 10 or 10:30 p.m. of time, we will know exactly the state for Florida, for example, and that will serve as a determinant of who is on the path for presidency. Florida, Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, those six counties, Atlanta, Georgia, if it comes in from the Republican and falls into the Democrat, then you're going to begin to see the signal that indeed a specific candidate is on his way to the presidency. But for Pennsylvania, I can for sure tell you probably they're going to take a base or who happened to, we don't know yet. And that's why we are all been monitoring to see all because it's been heavily contested. That's one of the options for the president.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about this. What does this mean for Liberians? Because our democracy, America has been a very good friend to us, to Liberian or to Liberia. What are some Liberians who are also in the US and also from Liberia? Probably, what have you heard from them about the democracy of America?
What are Liberians saying?
Yeah, what are Liberians saying, especially being a resident to the US?
Well, it depends who you talk to. Of course, politics here, it's people's choice, preference. Some who are Republicans, who are Democrats, Oakland, independent. That movement of people is a little bit. But I can for sure tell you from my own website and other friends, people that would this sort of talking point is ongoing as well. Um, Liberian here, I'm not actively in terms of citizenry. There are certain block or certain constituent votes very crucial, like the Hispanic votes, because they're predominant, they're youth, they have a better future representation. But yes, of course, Liberians, Philadelphia, the Rhode Island, Minnesota, they are few uh, who can vote. And I really want to encourage those who are qualified to vote to vote because when you sit down, it doesn't make it anything. We always get this tendency is we want to go do our devils and triples, but it has to get involved in the political system. And I can tell you that in my own state of Rhode Island now, for the first time, Rhode Island have a, con- a congressman on local state level who have to be our own, like former president of the Labrador. Different BI is state representative of Rhode Island. So I even not involved in the community with what is happening on the state level out of the English. That's why it takes to give them a congressman, representative, I mean. So that's for sure. I think Liberians are waking up to the task, and I hope to get involved. I hope to see some Liberians contesting on the local level, state council, school boards, and all of that. So gradually, uh, we are getting there, but we're still far from actively involved in terms of volunteering for campaigns. People couple of last time around I was there, so I did it this time. I got caught up. I couldn't really get on with campaigns, being a volunteer, campaign for, and whatever other campaign we asked to do. But for most programs are also involved by fair to them. But I think we need to do much more.
Before we take leave for you, what does I mean? What qualify one to be a voter? Maybe probably because people think that when you live in America, it means that you're going to vote. What qualifies
No,
one
no,
to
no,
be?
no. No, no. You first of all transform to the age of 18, and not just only because you're citizen, you must be a registered voter. That's the uniqueness. If being a citizen does not qualify you to vote, you have to be a registered voter. You must register first to vote, and that's how you can vote. You must be at the age of 18, and you will be able to vote. And that's one of the most important things. If you voter, it will be a key factor into this process. So not all like Americans are voters. Not all Americans are registered voters. You must be a registered voter, must register in order to vote.
Okay, Alfonso, thank you. We hope that throughout the day we will be joining you where you're going to be talking about the process in the U.S. and also
Yeah,
America.
yeah, we will be on here late hour, right, 11 o'clock p.m. So we will be on to bring some of the relays at that time. We're making that a lot of information there will be known. And you are quite correct, Mr. Donald Trump. He's the chief of most that we are posted. Twitter flag is some have been taken down. Can you imagine who able to take down the tweet or post of the president in third world countries such as Liberia? But this is a short. But this year's elections in America has changed the dynamics of the America of the EUC. Other places in the news where the cutting people voting too because of these things that we are expressing that kind of want to be a violence. So people have changed. So the core color of democracy is on edge. It's quite interesting to look to see where it's happening. The White House, the way has been barricaded. That has not happened before. There's a structure of fence now they have put around the White House, maybe with the fears of protesters. But these things have never happened before. So we are in a very unusual time. All because of the kind of person that is a president things that comes out of his mouth intensify all of this high tension for voting process. But we're waiting for you.
Okay, Alfonso, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We will be joining you throughout the day from Rhode Island, where you're going to be up by 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be like 6 a.m. Pacific Time. We will be hoping that to join you then. if, if possible, hoping to join you then. But again, whatever the case may be, hopefully we're going to be joining you. So thank you ever so much, Alfonso. Thank you.
Thank, thank you.
Okay, Liberia Public Radio CEO, Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Alfonso Zianso on the line there from Rhode Island. We say thanks to you, Mr. So. You are watching a special edition of Issues of Today live from Monrovia. We're talking about the U.S. election. We can take a few calls. If you wish, you can put in your calls and then we will definitely have your say here on Issues of Today. So again, some unusual things are happening. Let us pray for America because again, the democracy of America is a democracy for Liberia because most of us, majority, if not all of us, we have some relatives in the US. You know the DV process. It will depend on the kind of leader the American people elect today. Whether they will be extended the EDD, whether it be extended or not, it will depends on the president you elect, the American people do elect today. So it's very much crucial to us. So let's come back to Liberia to talk about Liberia a little bit on this special edition of Issues of Today. It's 6:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and of course 11 a.m. Liberian time. We want to say thanks for watching, thanks for joining us. In case you just come in our way, we will want to welcome every one of you who are joining us. And thank you, Angel, saying a Liberian should stop bring Achi Pompon down mentally. Achi is a real Liberian hero. Yes, Achi yesterday, Achi took the stand by setting himself at blaze. So again, this was the very first time, very unprecedented. It happened in Tunisia, in Tunis, where a university graduate who was frustrated with the action of police set himself ablaze, and that led to the Arab Spring. So we don't want any scenario such in our country. Again, Achi is coming on well according to some medical reports that we've gathered so far. He's coming on. He's responding to treatment. He was burned second degree. Yes, so he's responding to treatment after he attempted killing himself actually. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Americas. Let's talk about the U.S. election. What do you make of it? And what Liberians here? What can we say to our American counterpart? Some of what is happening in America is very unprecedented, actually, because the White House has not been barricaded, has not been fenced, security barrier has not been on it during election. Election day usually it used to be a happy time in America, but today the issue is quite different. So the way things are going on is actually not good. We all should come together and pray. Like we too in Liberia, we will be going for election in few weeks time. We need to put ourselves together. We need to pray for America and also pray for ourselves. Special edition of Issues of Today on Liberia Public Radio. More than 100 million Americans are today voting in a very tense election that will decide the winner between Mr. Donald Trump and that of former Vice President Joe Biden. They will be determining who going to be the next president of the United States of America. So the process is ongoing. Voting process has already started according to some statistics. Mr. Biden has taken an early lead in some of the process, but we will not know the result until today, until later when Americans will be deciding. I mean, when results will be coming up. Well, in Liberia, long-time political activist Achi Pompon has set himself as blaze after he felt frustrated about their long-term salaries that have been delayed by the legislative branch of government. According to him, that was the only alternative he can take to ensure that his plights are seeking or are listened to. So it was yesterday a dramatic scene when he pulled out gasoline on his clothes and then decided to burn himself. He was burned second degree, first degree, according to some reports. As you can see, the marks all on his face on our television screen there. So that's what happened yesterday here in Liberia. Issues of today, the Liberia legislature has the Supreme Court of Liberia has given green light to the National Elections Commission to go ahead with electoral process. This means campaign process and other issues will continue to go on about this 2020 special senatorial election in Liberia. So good news for political parties and also politicians who are wishing to to participate in the 2020 special senatorial elections in Liberia. Well, we're going to take a leave shortly, but if you wish, less than 5 minutes will be here. We'll soon be taking a leave for you. Again, we recap some of what we've been talking about. A tense election in the U.S. history between Mr. Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden is currently taking place across the United States of America. The election has already over 100 million people have already voted in the process in early day. Americans will be choosing who will be their next president, and that person will be leading them for the next 4 years. In 2016, Mr. Trump won the election. He won Madam Hillary Clinton in that election process. The first poll opens today at 5 o'clock EDT. That is 10 o'clock GMT in Vermont, USA. Nearly 100 people have already cast their ballots in the early voting process. So it means the process already started today, and so they will be deciding. Both rivals spend the final hours of the race rallying key swing states. That is national polls given the thin lead to Mr. Biden, but it is a closer race in states that could decide the outcome of the process. So that is it. On this special edition of Issues of Today, live from Monrovia, from our studio here, on behalf of the entire team here, Ellis has been on the camera. We want to say thank you for watching. We will be today on later on at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 1 a.m. Liberian time. The Francis and so will be on from Rhode Island, also from California in Sacramento. Samson To is also expected to be on with conversation with Samson To at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or California time, where he's going to be discussing some issues of national concern. So I want to say thank you for watching this special edition of Issues of Today on Liberia Public Radio, LPR-TV, live from our main studio here on behalf of the entire team. Issues of Today, we want to say thank you for watching us live from Monrovia here today, where the U.S. election. Before we just go there, just recap some of the talking points that we've been talking about here. The first poll today open in the U.S. Americans are set to vote, or they are voting in the most divisive presidential elections in decades, pitting incumbent Republican leader Donald Trump against Democratic challenger Joe Biden. The first poll today open at 5 a.m. EDT, that's 10 GMT in Vermont, USA. Nearly 100 people have already cast their ballots in early voting process. According to some statistics, Mr. Joe Biden has already taken an early lead, but some key swing states, including Pennsylvania, Florida, and other states, will decide where some huge number of electoral college votes will decide the final results of the process. It's 6:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in Rhode Island and other parts of the U.S. It's 7 a.m. in Minnesota. It's 7:24 a.m. in Minnesota. So I want to say thank you. We're going to end it with this from Liberia. My name is Mark Dunn on behalf of the entire team here from our studio in Liberia. I want to say thank you for watching. Tonight, Alfonso Zionso will be bringing you the latest results from the American election from Rhode Island, from our New England Bureau in the U.S. Before that time, Samson Branto will be joining you with conversation with Samson Todd from Sacramento at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we hope that you all can tune in then to listen to results coming from the American elections. Have a wonderful time from studio in Monrovia.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Love is all we need to make it stick. This is the time to come together. Keep Liberia safe forever. So open up your heart and let the unity begin. Love is all we need to make